Good evening, everyone. We are so excited to see you for another session of Strong Start Sundays. We are extremely excited to have you tonight. If you would, please take a moment to write your name in the chat box and tell us where you are watching from and what your position is. We know your time is so valuable, so we are just thankful that you're going to spend the next 30 minutes of your busy schedule with us to talk all things school leadership. Today, I am so excited to welcome my friend and mentor, Dr. Sharon H. Porter, to Strong Start Sundays. She is such an amazing force in education, and she is someone that is so well respected. Dr. Sharon H. Porter is the principal of Allenwood Elementary School. She is also the Zone 2 representative for the Maryland Association of Elementary School Principals. So we get to work together in that work. And she is also a fellow with the National Association of Elementary School Principals, NAESP, and she is leading amazing work all across the country. So Sharon, thank you so much for coming tonight. We're so welcome to have you.
Rachel, thank you so much for having me. This is unbelievable. I can't wait to dive in.
Yes. So today, hey, Dr. Matthews, great to see you. We have a lot of great things to get into tonight, but this is one of my favorite subjects to talk about because joy is essential to our work as educators and as school leaders. And I firmly believe there's nothing more important than having joy in our work. It's not good enough just to show up every day and like, I'm here again, right? We want to be able to come in energized every single day. And it is tough. Dr. Porter, you know, it is tough right now. And, I think about my week last week, it was a lot going on. And I bet a lot of you also were in the same position. Dr. Porter, Sharon, how was your week?
God, it was so busy. We ended up with a fantastic Hispanic Heritage Month celebration. We had fundraising kickoffs. It was just all the things last year. We were off Friday, so everything had to be packed Monday through Thursday.
But it
was a great week.
Yes, I love that. And I'm glad you brought that up because there's lots of things to celebrate. October is National Principals Month, and we just want to shout out all of the principals and school leaders who are on the call today. Take the time to celebrate yourselves because this is a tough job, but it is such a meaningful and impactful job. And I truly believe we will never know the true impact of our work because just the way that the ripples extend, we won't really ever know, but just know that we are touching lives every single day. We are making a difference in the lives of children and the lives of the staff and teachers that we support, and we're making a difference in the lives of the community. So shout out to all the principals and school leaders on the call today. I hope you've had a wonderful Principals Month. I know some people celebrate early in the month, some people celebrate in the middle, some people at the end. I will say that our school, shout out to Waterloo, we had an awesome celebration on Thursday this past week. Red is my favorite color. And so my assistant principal and some other staff organized all the staff to come in red, all of the students to wear red together. I walked in, I saw the sea of red. I'm like, ooh, everyone looks so great. The kids are into it. They had little notes and, just little treats and flowers. It was just an amazing day. I really felt the love. So I hope that school leaders, you feel the love this month because we need that, right?
Yes, and that's important. It really is.
Yes, it is important. So as we're getting into our conversation tonight, we really wanted to center on joy and staying energized because as we said, this is the time of year right now, right in that October to that November timeframe. Our deadlines are going like this. Our responsibilities are up here. There's a lot happening. So we want to make sure that we are coming to school with the energy that we need as leaders because people are always watching us, right, Sharon? They're always watching what we're doing.
Always.
Yes. Yeah. So we want to share a couple of strategies with you to help you remain energized. But before we do that, I want to take a quick commercial break and share that Relational Intelligence is out right now. We would love for you to pick up a copy of this. It is on Amazon. It's a bestseller, and it has great practical tips for school leaders and educators. So thank you so much for your support of Relational Intelligence. So let's jump in. One of the things that I like to think about when I think about joy and staying energized is that you don't have to pay for this major vacation to relax. You don't have to go on an excursion to feel joy. There are many things that we can do throughout our school day that will give us that little dopamine hit that we all need. That's free. So today we want to talk about some of those things. So one of our first strategies that Sharon and I want to highlight is really around protecting those small moments of pause. And when we can pause, recognizing when we need to pause, first of all, and then what can we do to create some of those. So I'm going to give an example, and then I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Porter. So I'm someone that I always need to move. And I know, goodness, if I am in meeting after meeting after meeting, if I haven't had my lunch break, my morale, my personal feelings go like this, right? I get a little short with people. I'm not thinking as clearly as I should. And so one of those times where that happened, I said, wait a minute, Rachel, let's pause and let's go out of the office, get away from the email for a moment, and let's go to the art classroom. So I walked across to an art classroom, and the students were just coloring. And I sat down at the table with some kids, and I asked them, can I color with you all for a couple of minutes? And I'm telling you, just the act of coloring and taking a moment to pause and do that was so powerful. It was a simple thing to do, but there were two things that were happening. First of all, I was able to connect with kids. That was like very important to me, to be able to have that time to converse with the students, not talking about schoolwork, just relaxing, but it also helped me to like regain my sense of control. And when you're coloring, we have those adult coloring books that sometimes are very powerful. Sometimes we just need that pause. So something as simple as leaving my office environment and going to a different classroom really helped me to regain joy. It was free, it was quick, and it got the job done. Dr. Porter, what are some other that you do?
I love that. And so I have two places in the building that I go when it's time to reset. Pre-K and music class. First of all, I love music. I love singing. I love everything about music. And so to go into the classroom where there is music, I'm able to listen, sometimes sing along, and sometimes encourage others to sing because they're not always as active in that. But when I go in, and especially if I know the song, and if I don't, I learn it, right? I teach it with them. I learn it with them. But I love sitting there. And then with our smallest learners, oh my God, Dr. Rachel, going into pre-K class, what better place? Oh my goodness. All these little 4-year-olds, really everything is just coming to life for them. And just to sit and engage with them, talk with them, they will talk your head off, first of all. And I love it. But those are two places that I love to go. But also to just take a reset moment. It could be 5 or 10 minutes before I go to the next task. You mentioned it before, going from task to task can be just very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so just taking that time to sip some water, sit down and breathe deeply before I move on to the next task. Those things really help me with those small pockets of rest.
Yes. And I love that. I am very similar to you. You all know my background is early childhood. I am a kindergarten teacher through and through. So when I need a break, I'm definitely heading to preschool, pre-K, or our kindergarten time because I just love the energy of the kids and getting on the floor sometimes, playing with them in the construction zone and those sort of things is so fun. That's right. Or going on the playground, just experiencing learning through the life of a child through their eyes is so special to me. And I know it's the same way for you, Sharon, that brings me joy when I can see, because there are some times, let's be completely honest. There are some times when we are working so hard and we're not seeing the results that we want. That's just the truth as leaders and as teachers too. But when you take a step back and you can see the learning occurring in real time through the eyes of a child is so special. Then that changes the perspective to say, you know what? We are doing so many great things. We are working, we are making progress. So thank you for lifting those things up. And I didn't know you were a singer. That's something new.
Yeah, I love singing. I've been in the church choir forever, lead background. And so anytime that I have the opportunity to do, because I don't do it as often now.
Yeah,
So I love jumping into the class and to the chorus practice as well.
I
Singing with
love
our
that. Well, you know, I can carry a small tune, but not a big one. Okay.
I love it.
So let's move on to our second strategy. And this is something that we can kind of transition into as we're thinking about how we can kind of measure our results. Because, like we said, sometimes we get frustrated as leaders. That's the truth. Sometimes we feel like we're spinning wheels trying to get these new initiatives off the ground. And that in of itself can just take so much energy and really bring us down. And one of the things that Sharon and I talked about before we started the call was it's so easy to get wrapped up into a negative thinking cycle. It's easy. We're all human beings. It's much easier to say, oh, this isn't working, or when is this going to end, right? But we really have to move out of that space as leaders because people are watching us and people are taking cues from what we're saying and what they see us doing. And so if we can change that perspective, then we can really help support our staff who may be feeling that same way, but you know, they also want to move in another direction in that more positive and joyful space. So our second strategy we want you all to focus on or to think about tonight is how can we really celebrate progress and not focus on that perfection. And Rashad, I love this, joyfully offering blessings. That's our job. I love that. I love that acronym. I haven't seen that before, but thank you for offering that up. And thank you for being here tonight with us. But it's really important that as leaders, we focus on what is going right. What is happening correctly in our buildings, because there are so many beautiful things that are happening every day all around us. And so I want to make sure that we have a chance to lift that up. So Dr. Porter, what are some things that we can do to really celebrate some progress areas that we're making?
Yes, two things come to mind. You know, when I do my week at a glance, I make sure that I highlight a success story from the previous week, right? To let them know that there are great things going on around our school. And I also do that in my school's parent community communication, as well as the staff. So I think that's very important. But I think the mindset of that today is a new day is probably the biggest one of all, because if it's been a hard day, because you know we have those hard days, in my mind, I say it's a new day tomorrow. And when I get on at 8 o'clock in the morning to let the staff know it's almost time for our scholars to come in, that's what I say. Today is a new day. That means that whatever went wrong yesterday, guess what? We have another chance to make it right. And I want them to extend that to our scholars as well, because if they didn't have such a positive day, guess what? You can have one today. So I really think that's so important, is to know that we don't have to carry the negative on to the next day. It's a start over. It's a reset. And we can do that. And so really just highlighting those success to parents as well as to staff, and making sure that everyone has that mindset that we can start over and make a difference today, regardless of how yesterday ended.
And I love that message around the reset, because we all have those times where we might have had a very poor, no good, terrible day, right? You know that story. But there is hope. That's what I hear when I hear you speaking, Dr. Porter. I hear you talking about hope, that tomorrow is a new day, that we can start over. You know, we've all made it through each day. You know, on my hardest days, one of the things I think about is I've always made it through those hard days. There has not been a day yet that we have not made it through. And so I really appreciate you uplifting that message, because that helps me too to remember that. And I know that's impactful to everyone on the call. I see some great people here. I see Dr. Sheikha Houston here. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I see Dr. Daniel Trulove with us. It's so great to see you. Thank you all so much for coming on tonight. I see Create and Educate is also here tonight. So one of the things I remember that I struggled with greatly when I was a new assistant principal and I had transitioned out of the kindergarten classroom, one of the things that I really struggled with was that sometimes we can feel like we're in a thankless job. Like we're in a position where a lot of things are happening. There's a lot of responsibilities, but we're not always acknowledged. And that's just how I felt. And so I remember that first year as an AP, I took out a journal. It was just a regular composition book. I had bought it for 99 cents when it's on sale in the beginning of the school year. And I began to just put a date at the top, and I would write down all of the good things that happened in the day. I would say something like, I helped connect this family with a community resource. And I would just write that down. I had a funny conversation with a student today. I would write that down. I got a chance to complete 2 observations. Right. Wrote that down. Right? Big stuff, right? Yes. Big things, little things. And you know what that began to happen over time? I had a record of all the things that I was doing. Wow. And I would go back and sort of read those when I needed it to say, you know what, Rachel, you are making a difference in the school. You know, there are great things that are going, and sometimes we need to encourage ourselves. So I always encourage people to think about what you can do for yourself in terms of a level of encouragement to bring you joy, to validate the work that you are doing, because sometimes it's not always going to be that external validation. We have to have that internal motivation to keep going. So I just wanted to share that with you. If you have not tried that strategy, just begin to write down the impactful things that you're doing. And then you'll be able to go back and look and say, wow, I'm doing some really great things. I'm making a difference in my school. Dr. Porter, anything else you want to add on that?
I do, you know, and you talked about the internal motivation, but I also believe in connecting with our colleagues. I mean, you know, the principals across the nation, across our great state of Maryland, our annual conference is coming up. That is such an energizer in itself. MESP United Conference is coming up in November. That's the time that we get to see our colleagues from across the state, get to take in some wonderful professional learning. That energizes me. And I think it's at a perfect time. November, right when it's like, woo, can we make it to winter break?
Yes.
So I love that. That's a huge part of that motivation for me is connecting with our colleagues.
100% agree with that. And shout out to our organization, the Maryland Association of Elementary School Principals. We have an amazing conference that's coming up in about 2 to 3 weeks. And it's going to be a chance for elementary, middle, and high school principals to really come together, to collaborate, to talk about issues across the state and solutions. So I agree with you. I think having those safe space people that we can trust, that understand what we're going through as educators and leaders is so critically important to maintaining joy. Because sometimes we feel like this is only happening in my school.
Right.
Right? Until you talk to 2 other people and they're like, oh, no. That's happening here too. So sometimes we need that reassurance that we're all in this together, that we have that collective efficacy, that we can figure it out with teamwork. With the right people in the room, we can make a real difference. So I really appreciate you lifting the power of connections up. I know we have text groups in our district. We each have like little groups of cohorts, or our front office staff has our text group. And you know, that keeps us going. Our leadership team has a text group. We're sharing pictures of family, just different things outside of the job that really helps us stay interconnected. So thank you so much for lifting that up as well. I also want to talk about a third strategy in place. Hello, Ms. Jo Tutors. It's great to see you and welcome. I'm one of the assistant principals from Delaware. Thank you for joining us tonight. Another thing we want to talk about is like celebrating 1 win a week. And I really like this idea because I think it's something that we can all do. You know, when we're starting meetings, just finding something to celebrate. And as the leader, just modeling that. So starting with one thing, hey, this initiative is going well. Here's where we are within this process. Or, I was working with the student and they were struggling in this area, and I see them making progress. They're working hard towards it. So taking that time to lift up what our colleagues are doing in the school is so powerful for keeping us motivated and joyful and energized. Because again, if we're always looking at the finish line, we're not necessarily seeing those incremental wins along the way. And I believe we really need to focus on those small wins because they make the big ones. They make the big wins possible. Absolutely. Yep. So our last one we want to focus on is really around gratitude and practicing gratitude. And I think this to me is the most important thing that we can do because it really shifts our perspective. It changes the way that we see things. And when we are coming from a place of showing appreciation and gratitude for what is going well and what we do have, I think that really helps me to maintain joy. Dr. Sharon, what are some things that you are grateful for today?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm truly grateful for the mindset of my staff. I'm going to say that because, as you know, this is my second year at this school. And the first year is always a little rocky, when you go into a new place. You go in and you don't change a lot. You observe, you do things. And then that second year, you put your vision into play, right? And so I'm really grateful that they have embraced the vision, which aligns to our district, the things that I see that will move the needle. And so my staff loves some professional learning, and I love it. So I bring it, and they love it. So I'm truly grateful for that because a lot of times principals face staff who don't want it. They don't, they're not into all of the extra learning outside of what they're required to do. And so I'm really grateful for that as a school leader in a new building because 2 years is still new.
That's right. And Dr. Sharon, we have that in common because I also am in my second year in a new school. And I am truly grateful for the staff welcoming me and giving me that time and space to learn and to continue to learn. I'm really appreciative of that. And another thing that I love about our staff is they jump in. If there is a need, the staff, there will always be someone to step up and say, I can do it. How can I help? And I love working in that environment because that really motivates me to be even better. Like, hey, there's another problem that's come up. Who can help, right? Being that kind of solution-based leader and really corralling the members of the team because people want to help and support. It's a beautiful environment and culture to be in. So I'm very grateful for the people that I work with every single day, our paraeducators, our teachers, our custodial staff, our lunch staff, everybody jumps in to support the learning at our school. So
and I will say, your school is beautiful. I was so grateful that I had the opportunity to visit your school during our meeting. And you can just feel the love in the building. So
Thank you.
To lift that up for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Sharon. So I see Dr. Shika Houston had mentioned that she has a gratitude journal. And I love that idea because that's something that we were going to talk about and uplift today is, writing down 2 to 3 things each day that you're thankful for. I really like the idea of waking up and saying something that you're grateful for. It might be school related. It may not be. It may be I'm thankful for family. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful, for my children, for my pets, whatever it is. Just expressing that to start the day is so beautiful. And I think ending the day as well with what we're grateful for goes a long way. And writing it down, because I think that really helps to uplift our spirits and keep us energized and okay, we're looking forward to tomorrow. What am I going to be grateful for tomorrow? So I love that idea and I appreciate you lifting that up. Did you have something like that too, Dr. Reporter? Do you have?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I journal, but see, and I journal every morning. I don't do the afternoon journal, but I journal in the morning, and that's part of that routine for me. And it does center me before I get my day started, and I'm able to carry that. And again, like you said, it may be personal or it may be connected to school.
Yeah.
But I like to start my day with that, but I love ending the day with it as well. I might have to
Yeah.
add.
I love that. Yeah, try that. And another thing that I like to do is called a gratitude walk. And it's really taking a walk around your building and finding, like retraining your eyes to find what is working well and complimenting the people in your building.
Yes.
That's something that we all can do. A gratitude walk may take 5 minutes. It may take 20 minutes if you have that time, but it is important for people to see the leader walking around and giving compliments out and uplifting the work that is going on in real time. So I definitely think taking a gratitude walk is something that we can all do as leaders. And that just continues to support the culture, the positive culture that we want to build in each of our schools. So that's something else that we wanted to lift up. But bringing those things to light is so powerful. I know another thing, like if I'm having an awful, terrible day, and we've all had those, I have a full box of cards, notes, pictures from children. I will just have to pull out that box and read a couple of letters.
Oh, wow.
That helps to recenter me, Dr. Porter. Like I will just pull out some cards.
I love that.
They may be old cards. They may be a card I got from last week. I had a student, students wrote me such beautiful notes this past week, and I had a chance to read through all of them. I mean, grade by grade, student by student. And there were so many beautiful things that the children were saying, but a couple of them that stood out to me was, Dr. Edoho-Eket, you understand that we're all individuals and that we're all special. A student wrote that, a fourth grader, I love that message. You understand that. And another person said, you are so calm in stressful situations.
Oh my goodness, a student said
that. A student, yeah, it was beautiful. It's very interesting what students can pick up about us. Absolutely. Because I felt like they knew me really well. You help us with conflicts, but you don't judge us. You help us feel better. Just beautiful. I felt truly inspired by those, and they got put in the box, right? There's going to be some times when I need those messages of support. So I really recommend saving when you have those, because you need them in the future to help with your spirit at times.
I really like that.
Yeah, try that. Well, it's hard to believe we have only about 3 minutes left. It goes fast, right? And I tell you, Dr. It goes fast. Yes. So we want to leave you with a couple of last minute things. First of all, thank you for being here tonight. We have over 500 people watching currently, and we're just grateful. We're showing gratitude for you being here with us tonight. If you have not ordered your copy of Relational Intelligence, please do so. It is available on Amazon. It's a bestseller. I know Dr. Porter has her copy of it. We're just grateful, but it's very helpful tool. It's very practical for school leaders to talk about ways we can continue to have that positive relationship and building morale with our teachers and staff. I want you to think about this reflection question as you are starting your week ahead. What small daily action can you do to promote more joy in your work? So I want you just to think about that. What is one thing that you heard tonight? We talked about pausing and making sure we're putting time for those moments of joy. We talked about celebrating our progress over perfection. And then we also talked about practicing gratitude and the importance of doing that. So what's one thing that you can walk away with? Thank you so much, Dr. Matthew, for those compliments. We really appreciate you being here tonight. This is a reminder that we have 2 great sessions coming up in November for Strong Start Sundays, Strong Start Sundays. So we want to give you those. November 2nd, we're going to be talking about giving thanks and more strategies for showing gratitude, because gratitude is a leader's superpower. So we want to talk more about how we can show gratitude and appreciation to everyone that we serve. And then on November 16th, we're going to be taking a mid-semester pause. We had all these great plans in the summertime that we make as leaders, and November is a great time to pause and figure out what's working well and what are some practices that we may want to reset. So that's going to be a great time and a great conversation. So we'd love to have you back on November 2nd and also on the 16th. So we are getting ready to close out tonight. Dr. Porter, is there anything else you'd like to add before we finish up?
Dr. Rachel, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much. And I wanted to say for your book, Relational Intelligence, it is truly practical tips that you can open up, read, and use. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to share your platform. And guys, go get the book if you hadn't purchased it yet.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that plug. We need that. That's great. And truly, that is why Dr. Johnson and I wrote this book. We wanted it to be practical. We want school leaders to have some things that we can do that are low cost that will help continue to support our work and push it forward in our schools. So truly, thank you again for being here tonight. Thank you to our special guest, Dr. Sharon H. Porter, for being just an amazing leader, a wonderful mentor, and just an overall great person. And thank you to all of you who have spent the last 30 minutes with us tonight. We are wishing you an amazing week filled with lots of gratitude, lots of celebrations, and lots of love. Have a great day. Bye.